Hello, my name is Christina. Thank you for joining me. This series is designed to target a specific area of the body through exercises. And today I will be focusing on the hand as well as the forearm and maybe a little bit of the upper arm. And so we're going to start with our fingers clasped to the webbing, then press the heels of the hands together and start to lift your sternum in towards your thumbs, just to sit up tall. Okay. And then now, keep your hands clasped and start to create like an S curve of the arms. And so this is just waking up the wrists and the forearms as well as the whole hand and the fingers. And so here's where it gets tricky. Can you switch the direction of the S curve? It's getting a little bit of the coordination aspect involved. And then pause. And then from here, take your fingers and keep them clasped, but now bring the webbing forward. And so press your palms forward as much as possible. And so start to stretch your palms forward like you were getting out of the shoulder joint. So keep the engagement from your wrists to your shoulders and now lift your palms directly up overhead. And snuggle your biceps towards your ears. And then bring your palms forward. So create almost like you were doing like a C shape up and overhead, and then drawing your palms forward. And then just do that a couple of times. Notice that your arms are going to stay engaged this whole time. Okay. And then lower the hands down. Unclasp the hands and give your wrists a shake. Clasp your hands once again. And then see if you can now take your hands to the webbing and then draw your palms forward this time. So it's going to feel a little bit weird. And then take your hands towards you and then press your palms out. So do this a couple of times. Just starting to rotate the wrists, pressing the palms forward each time. Straightening the arms and then bending them in and then pressing the palms forward once again, rotating your arms the other direction. So now we're getting a little bit more into the forearm. And then release the hands down into your lap. So now we'll get even more into the forearm as well as the hand. So you're going to take your hand. I like to describe it almost like you're telling someone to stop, and then dial the fingers down. Bend the elbows slightly to draw the palm closer to you. And then take the opposite hand and then gently press the finger pads towards you. And then start to straighten the arm. So start to open up essentially the front side of your forearm. You'll stay here for as long as you want, and then whenever you're ready, you'll let go, and then turn your palm towards you, fingertips down, and then do that same thing, pressing the top of your hand down, and then starting to straighten the arm. So now we're getting this part of the forearm. Hold that for as long as you'd like, and then release that, and you'll do that same thing on the other side, starting with the fingertips down, and then drawing the arm towards you, and then starting to press the palm forward, straightening the arm. And then whenever you're ready, you're switching, turning the palm towards you, pressing the back of the hand slightly as you release the forearm. And as always, you can pause this recording if you need to hold something for a little bit longer. I'll release that. And again, take a moment if you need to shake it out or if you want to hold a particular side for longer. So now the next shape we're going to do is with fists. So take your hands and create fists with the thumbs out. Okay? And then from here, start to dial the knuckles forward like you were creating like cobra heads. And then take your fists to side and then the other side. So you should feel this along the wrists and the back of your hands. This exercise is great if you are a boulder or a rock climber in any way. And again, do this for as long as you'd like, and whenever you're ready, release your hands down. The next shape we're going to do is from tabletop. And so from here in tabletop, stack your shoulders directly above your wrists. And a great measurement tool is to turn the fingertips in, making sure that the middle fingers can touch, and then spinning the finger pads forward. Okay. And then from here, making sure that you keep this alignment, start to dial the fingertips out towards the side of your space. And then maybe turning the fingertips back towards your kneecaps. And then you can always stay here, or maybe start to send your hips towards your heels, keeping the arms straight. Okay, you press into all four corners of your hands. Avoid curling the fingers, and then release the forearms. And then whenever you feel complete, start to shift your weight forward, and then one hand at a time, spin your finger pads forward. The next exercise might be a little bit intense, so watch me before you move. Now, perhaps you can take one hand at a time and then dial your fingertips towards your knees, but the back of your hand will be down. And perhaps this is enough, doing this one hand at a time, bending the elbow and then pressing the back of your hands into the ground and straightening the arm. If you find that this is okay, you can do both hands at the same time. And then here's the final iteration of this exercise. If your back of your hands are down, fingertips pointing towards your kneecaps, if you want a little bit more, you can start to walk your kneecaps forward until your hands can cup your kneecaps. You'll find that the weight of your kneecaps will massage the back of your hands, and note that you can always do this one hand at a time. And then from here, start to sit your hips back. Notice that my toes are still tucked. This can be quite intense, so move slowly and mindfully. Especially if your kneecaps are on your hands, take your time and release one hand at a time, pressing your palms down. And again, you might want to give your wrists a shake. That can be quite intense. The next shape, again, is quite intense, and it's essentially a forearm smash. So watch me once again before you go. And again, this is particularly great if you're doing a lot of rock climbing. You're going to take your hand, and then you're going to place your forearm down so that your forearm is about parallel to the front edge of your space, and that the back of your hand is down, palm is facing up. Okay. Start to walk your knees forward, and then one knee at a time, you're going to take your knee, and the weight of your kneecap is going to massage your forearm. And I like to start right at the crease of my elbow, and then start to massage it towards my wrist crease. You're going to notice that your fingers are going to start to curl up. So we're getting into all of those muscles that can really start to tense up. If you find that there's a particular spot that you want to hold it, you can do so, or you can continue in this linear direction. And then don't forget, if you're doing this, just to see if you can switch. Doing that same thing. And if you find, for whatever reason, that this is not enough, you can place both knees onto the back of your forearm. You're not going to be able to move necessarily in a linear direction, so this is more just like a press, almost like you're placing some sort of resistance ball against your forearm. My fingers curl naturally. And then release the knees. Come up onto hands and knees, and then go ahead and just shake out your wrists. And the very last exercise that we're going to do in this series is coming up to a forward fold, feet a little bit wider than hips width distance, and then taking the hands and then diving them under the feet. And so you want the alignment to be that your toes are tickling your wrist creases. And so you know this as the shape of gorilla. We do this frequently. And take advantage of taking the balls of the feet and massaging the hands. And emphasize that point of contact. Release the hands whenever you're ready, one at a time. And then come to a seated position. So those are some exercises that you can do for the hands and the forearms. And I'd love for you to give me feedback as soon as you're done. And thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful day.